If Claude could replace every human-led go-to-market, every agency founder right now will be a millionaire. But actually, none of them are. Here is the honest version about what is happening with AI in B2B right now from somebody who actually uses it every single day in their agency. Now, quick thing before we get into it. This is a channel for founder-led agencies doing between 1 to 10 million ARR who want predictable pipeline without the AI hype. And if that's you, hit subscribe. I post weekly content on what we've been doing to engineer pipeline for our clients. So let's get into it. 6 months ago, I sat down on a Friday afternoon and I asked myself a brutal question. What did I actually achieve this week? I'd spent 30 hours in Claude, I built projects, I trained agents, I tinkered on my voice file, but my pipeline looked exactly the same as it did on Monday. And that was the moment I realized what was happening to every agency founder I've been speaking with for the last 12 months. Most founders are living in a fantasy right now. They've seen a couple of LinkedIn posts, they've watched a YouTube video or two, and they've read lead magnets from some idiot running an AI agency. They've convinced themselves that Claude is somehow going to automate their entire pipeline. Book the meetings, send their messages, handle the objections, wake up to a calendar full of calls and even make the bed for them. Now, if that worked for every agency, every founder would be a millionaire, except they're not even close. So in the next 11 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what AI does for our pipeline, the 5 things that it will never do for yours, and the prediction I'd make and stake over the reputation for AI in the next 3 years. So what Claude actually is, it's an efficiency game. The efficiency game I'm seeing in our business right now are the following things. First is in the top of the funnel, tasks that used to take us long amounts of manual work that would have handed off to AI, such as building lead lists, filtering leads to make sure they're a fit. There's still a human element in all of this, a person with context to make sure we're targeting the right people. That in itself is a good thing, and it means we're able to ship more client campaigns, faster turnaround times, more A/B testing for us internally and as an agency. So we still need a human reviewing everything that we're doing. And if you're talking about a lead list, you need to make sure you're meeting the needs of the market at the moment. You need to make sure it's the right people on that lead list, and you need to know that you've actually understood the ideal client persona, what good looks like, and once you provide that context to the AI, to Claude, you get the right output. And that is that human in the loop. The second use case is in our messaging. Now, our setter and the setters we have on a client account build out Claude outbound agents trained on different archetypes that they have. And each one of those archetypes will have a completely different way that the client would talk to them in the first place. Now, to get those archetypes in place, you have to have a human language because AI is only as good as the context it is trained on. Even if you copy and paste exactly what AI says, 50 to 60% of the time, it's not the right thing to say in the conversation to actually progress the meeting. Now, AI has horrendously bad taste and pacing a lot of the time, and often it doesn't understand the nuances of different markets and different people. Only a human GDM picks up on these idiosyncrasies and these micro signals in the DMs that tell you somebody's actual state, somebody's actual mood, how to actually progress the conversation. AI has allowed us to start more conversations and do more follow-ups, but you know what? A human in that process has been absolutely fundamental in the correct delivery of that strategy. It's also great for sending sales cycle follow-ups that would be hard to do consistently at scale manually. It's also good for building proposals as well, but you still need a human in the loop to trigger this in the first place, right? No way I would trust AI to send mission critical emails to a client that could potentially burn a deal if it's phrased wrong. It's always going to be a human in the loop from start to finish. Now, these are a drop in the ocean compared to what we're seeing in our business. The point is, it's a system, not an AI employee, right? A system that gives us more leverage on our time to do better, higher quality creative work. And this is why human-led GTM still runs everything in our business. I've mentioned this as a category multiple times on LinkedIn. Here's where, we're seeing it in our business at the moment. 1, the list. AI is helping you to find the right people who might be in the market at the right time. The next is funding rounds, hires, content engagement. People are engaging in your content that might be a potential fit for your service. But we've still had to sit down with the client and for ourselves and understand what exactly is a signal for a buyer. What is the combination of these signals that we could see in their business without speaking to them that would make them more likely to want to work with you? That is a human conversation every single time, right? Number 2, the diagnostic conversation. It is founder to founder DMs. You still got to read between the lines here and hear what they're saying and what they're not. Know when to push in the DMs, know when to hold off. AI is nowhere near doing this for high trust, high ticket ACV deals. And I know this because I've tested every single tool on the market, and AI SDRs are at best like a fucking intern running your DMs, which is great for grunt work and it's fine for top of funnel. But every time you actually get a real conversation going with a buyer, you're using AI in that process. The risk of things going horrendously wrong is incredibly high. Point 3, your point of view. Buyers buy from people with sharp, sometimes contrarian takes that they've earned through years in the room, doing the deals, doing the work. AI is just going to mimic whatever the person who's programmed it is based on. It cannot generate novel perspective in itself. And to get a perspective, you have to nail the fundamentals. And that comes from understanding marketing positioning. That comes from understanding what your buyers care about, what they're saying to you. That's the bit you, as the agency or service provider, get paid for, and what I get paid for. Your fucking taste, right? And if you hand that off to AI, the one differentiator that you had is gone. Number 4, trust and accountability. People are not fucking stupid, They've seen what's on the market. They know what AI sounds like. Buyers want a human to trust and a human to hold accountable. And you know what? If they snip that you're using AI in your DMs, that there's no human in the loop, they instantly tune out. And you will lose the deal instantly. So yes, you save time, but how many more conversations and meetings could you have booked if you just done it with a human in the loop in the first place? Number 5, judgment calls. Can AI realistically make the following decisions? Should I go up market? Should I change the offer? Should I kill this ICP I'm going after? Without any of that being in the training data. Those are always going to be calls that an operator would make, either you or the partner you're working with, or by your client's calls. Every single time. Now, here is the truth, right, guys? Pipeline is built by humans making judgment calls about other humans. Everything else is just an admin efficiency layer. That is all Claude is at the moment. It is not going to save your business. And I almost feel like there's this inherent coping mechanism of all of this. And here's what I mean by, the coping mechanism. Claude Code, Claude Projects, Claude as a workflow tool, Claude Codework, whatever you fucking use, it's all a trap. Founders spend 6 months deep on a project, spending hours a day tinkering away on their voice, on their offer, on their ICP, on their markdown file, making sure that it's just right and it looks pretty on, like a little folder, but they don't generate a single meeting from it. And you saw that happened to me at the start of this video. 30 hours into it with nothing to show for it, so that's the trap. Founders end up wasting weeks on Claude Code and 3 weeks deep on building their own outbound stack instead, when instead of going and talking to buyers itself, they could have just used the cheaper alternatives and actually ended up with a book pipeline instead. Now instead, they ship a tool that nobody's gonna fucking use except for them, when it could have been a $20 a month tool with a human in the loop in the first place with an actual strategy behind it. So if you've taken some value from this as it stands, make sure that you hit subscribe on this YouTube video video for weekly teardowns into how to get AI to work for your demand generation in your agency. And if you'd like to find out what your next 90 days looks like to drive towards a LinkedIn system that can generate anywhere from between 500K and to all the way up to $1 million of net new pipeline, and know the exact specific activities that you have to take to get there, make sure that you fill out a mutual plan from the link in the description, and you will get an in-depth plan completely for free with videos at every stage so you can get started on LinkedIn now. And if there is something that you'd like to speak to us about, you can do so.